What's up, everyone? This is BJose32. My hair is a mess, and this is the Daily Deck. Yeah. Let's look what's going on in the world of Kickstarter. A lot of projects getting funded, a lot of them not quite. I'll just quickly go over every project that's on Kickstarter right now. With playing cards, there's like 22 or so, which is absolutely ridiculous. So you know something's got to give. The Bicycle Tattoo Golden Edition playing cards funded, still 15 days left. The Ornate playing cards, well funded, 10 days left. They're looking for $75,000 to launch the Obsidian black version of the Ornate playing cards, which will have a Bicycle branded and non-branded deck, which I will definitely pledge for once they become available. It looks like they're going to launch them this week, whether or not they hit $75,000, which is great. Once they launch them, they're going to hit $75,000 anyway. The Treasury Series playing cards from Flying Eagle playing cards, which is a cheap imitation of the Pedal 52s in my opinion. 15 days left, only 9% funded. I knew it was doomed from the start. Steampunk playing cards by Nathaniel Mortensen. It was relaunched recently on a 10-day campaign. It's 75% funded with 7 days left. Obviously, they lost a lot of backers since it's no longer USB-C, and since it wasn't that great to begin with. But it looks like it will get funded, barring some kind of catastrophe over the next couple of days. The Relic playing cards by Rena Joy Designs, which has 4 different decks that are basically completely standard, no customization whatsoever. They just got a dirty, worn out, faded, well, a dirty, worn out feel on the faces and backs. Unnecessarily ugly one-way back designs, and there's 4 different decks. It's 57% funded with 30 days to go. I don't know if it's going to get funded, but I know I don't want that because it's just lazy and lackluster, and I don't recommend pledging for that. The Steampunk Cthulhu Resurrection playing cards, it's funded, still 9 days left. They have unlocked a red version of the deck, so if you like the original, you want a red one, you can get just the red one, or you can get both of these. They're going to be made by the Expert Playing Card Company, so you know they're going to be awesome. The Global Unrest playing cards, 78% funded, 16 days to go. Get those pledges in. Let's make these decks happen. We need them printed. Ho Chi Minh Designer playing card deck, as it's being called now by Editorial Plague. It's just a weird looking deck. 41% funded, 14 days to go. I don't think it's going to get funded again. The Bicycle Dia de las Muertes playing cards by Edgy Brothers is well funded already, 150% funded, 31 days to go. They have a standard deck. If they receive enough funding, which I'm sure they will be a black version, and if they get like $50,000, I think it is, don't quote me on that, it could be wrong, but if there's another stretch goal for a painted deck, as we're calling it, which is just a more colorful version of the deck. So we got one coming for sure, black and white more than likely. The colorful one, I don't know, but we'll see. Triplicate playing cards, 9 days left, well funded. If they get enough funding, I think there'll be a 3rd version of the deck. There's already 2 available. The Houdini Magic Seance playing cards by Ars Felix, 60% funded with 15 days. It's struggling a little bit. I'd love to see this one get printed. And there is a 2nd version if there's enough funding, but I don't know if it's going to happen. Excuse me for a minute. The Bicycle Plugged Nickel playing cards, 9 days left, only 36% funded. I knew this one was not going to happen from the start just because it's not a very pretty looking deck of cards. And 2 decks of cards being launched at the same time by a newbie is a recipe for disaster, because it requires twice as much funding, and for so many people aren't familiar with, and it just usually doesn't work out for the best. And I've seen it time and time again. So if you're a newbie and you want to launch a deck of cards on Kickstarter, fine, but do one deck and maybe a second one as a stretch goal. Don't do both at once. It just won't work. Then there's Steampunk Playing Cards Project is Go, which has got to be the weirdest name on for a playing card project on Kickstarter ever. 25 days to go, only 14% funded. Not likely going to happen. There's not a whole lot of artwork, and the cards just aren't very practical for use. More of an art thing. The Politically Incorrect Marijuana Playing Cards. 6 days left, 8% funded. It's not going to happen. I guess people just don't want to see Obama on crack. The Kingdoms of Erden Playing Cards. 47 days to go. Lots of time. 23% funded. This one for me has a lot of issues, a lot of red flags. Basically, stupid errors in the in the cards that they've posted, and the designs that they posted, like having the wrong indexes, having a really low funding goal, etc., etc. It just has issues written all over it, and I would recommend avoiding it. And there's the Bicycle Minimalist Helvetica deck, which is based on the Helvetica font. It's a minimalist tribute to the Helvetica font, which is weird. 59% funded with 14 days to go. I doubt this one's going to get funded. It's just too minimalistic, not very practical for anything, not very attractive. Collectors like nice art on their cards, not blandless, and this one is bland. Then there's the Bicycle comic cards by by Home Run Games and Kobe Pyle. It's inspired by Comic-Con. It features art from a bunch of random comic art, which is not related to any actual comics or comic books. They had trademark issues written all over it the first time around when they were calling it the Comic-Con deck. Now they're just calling it the Bicycle comic cards. They actually have a limited edition deck that has a cape on it, which is pretty interesting, but I don't know if it's going to be up. They're 62% funded with 21 days to go. It may or may not happen. It looks a lot like the 8-bit cards when you look at the back design, because it's just got a bunch of art all over it, which too much in my opinion. Make it more simplistic and it'll be better. Then there is the Antithesis playing cards by Jet City Limited. 14 days left, 71% funded. I don't know if it's going to make it. It's been spoken for a while. There's the Independence by Jackson Robinson, inspired by the American Revolution. Beautiful artwork, of course, as usual, as you come to expect from Jackson Robinson. There's a Continental deck, which is blue, the Crown deck, which is red. 24 days to go. It is well funded. There's over $100,000 now pledged and counting. It's going to be way up there. And there is also highly expensive limited edition decks that you can get if they're still available. Basically, the standard versions are a little bit more simplistic on the art, while the limited edition ones are definitely a little bit more elegant. They got more art on them, but they look pretty awesome either way. The Bicycle Wiretap is another deck. This is by Dave Boyd, who is with Home Run Games. 18 days to go, only 23% funded. I'd be highly surprised to see this one succeed. It just is not that pretty, in my opinion. It's not bad, but it's not that pretty. The Grotesque playing cards, if you missed out from the United Cardists. 3 hours left, well funded. There's 2 different versions, a standard one and a limited one, which is more or less just a color change, from what I can tell, but pretty awesome. They have a freaking Rubik's Cube available as well that I have pledged for. It's $50, but I haven't seen a Rubik's Cube in like 30 years. Okay, maybe not 30 years, I'm not that old, but I haven't seen a Rubik's Cube in 20 or 25 years, so I really want one. It's not a standard Rubik's Cube with all the colors, it actually has a grotesque artwork on it, which is pretty awesome, and I can't wait to get it. And moving along, the Pirates of the World playing cards, 11 days left. This one is funded, and it just features nice artwork, different all sorts of parrots on the faces of the cards. The back design's pretty nice. I'm just not too interested in it myself. I'm not a huge bird fan. I mean, I used to have parakeets myself, budgies, a long time ago. I like them. I like birds to some extent, but I'm not a huge, shall we say, birdie, I guess, to come up with a name for it. While I'm a card fan, I just not a huge fan of this, and I'm not a huge fan of non-USBC decks, unless it's Expert Playing Card Company or Legends Playing Card Company, or someone good, or it's a deck that is really good. This one is not bad, but it's from a not so good company, I guess, from what I can tell, so I'm not going to go for it. Then there's the dog decks and cat cards, perfect playing cards. 15 days to go, 47% funded, probably not going to happen. The Undead President's Bicycle playing cards, 5 days left, 25% funded, that ain't happening. Nobody wants to see a zombie version of JFK, I guess, or Lincoln. And then the Flight deck, which is the aviation playing cards, 89% funded, 16 days to go. Looks like it's going to get funded, which is awesome. There's a blue deck and a red deck. One is an airship deck, one is a airplane deck, and pretty awesome. They look great, and unlike some of the other decks, like the Dia de los Muertos and the Plug Nickel, there's not just a color change, there is variations in the backs at the very least. And then there's the Portraits of the Zombie Apocalypse playing cards, 24 days left, 19% funded. I don't think this one's going to make it. People are getting tired of zombies, I guess. And one more thing to mention, for those of you in the States, Walmart is now selling green and blue versions of the Bicycle Expert back playing cards. You can pick those up at your local Walmart. In Canada, we don't get so lucky. And I haven't seen them on USBC's website or elsewhere, but I do have some coming to me anyway. Thank you to Dylan. And that's what I got. I'll see you next time.